It's looking like Cyclone Trevor is going to be a monster when he gets into the Gulf of Carpentaria. So at the moment, he's just been downgraded, literally just now, to a Category 1. He's still shown as a 2 here on this diagram, but you can see on the map he's just been changed to a 1. He was a 2 just a second ago. So they've just downgraded him to 1. But when he gets into this Gulf of Carpentaria, which he almost is there now, he's going to explode. He's going to absolutely rapidly intensify and grow in size as well. So right now we've got 2 Category 1s. Trevor, set to go boom over the next couple of days. And Veronica is also predicted to become a severe tropical cyclone over the next couple of days, Category 3 by Saturday. And Saturday is when Trevor is expected to make landfall. So, I found a story on this by the Americans, the Category 6 blog on Weather Underground. Fast strengthening Cyclone Trevor to deliver a 1-2 punch in Australia. Well, the 1 punch has been delivered, and this is from yesterday. It's American, so March 18 is yesterday, even though it's March 20 here right now. See, still Tuesday in New York, Wednesday here, Eastern Australian daylight time. And Canberra's not far from where I am, so I'm not going to have to worry about Trevor. And not too many people are, but anyone who does live next to the Gulf of Carpentaria, yeah, this is going to be a monster. Infrared image this of Cyclone Trevor approaching the far northeast coast of Australia at 17:30 hours Monday, March 18, 2019. So that was 3:30 AM yesterday, local time. Yesterday was Tuesday. Earth's next significant tropical cyclone is Trevor, which is heading toward landfall in the east coast of Cape York Peninsula in far northeast Australia. Tropical Cyclone Trevor was a slow-moving but rapidly organising tropical cyclone early Tuesday local time, drifting west at only around 4 miles per hour. Top sustained winds were initially estimated at 65 miles per hour by the Joint Typhoon Warning Centre, JTWC, at 1200 hours Monday, but that number was later revised to 80 miles per hour. And just for some context, a typhoon, when this number reaches 150 miles per hour, sustained winds, it's a super typhoon at 150. And when it gets to 157, it's then a Category 5 hurricane equivalent on the Saffir-Simpson scale. Satellite imagery by 1800 hours suggested that a small eye was forming and that Trevor was already packing winds of up to 105 miles per hour. And the 1800 advisory from JTWC affirmed that Trevor was a Category 2 storm, Saffir-Simpson scale, with 105 mile per hour winds. Trevor intensified a remarkable 65 miles per hour in just 24 hours. Light wind shear under 10 knots, strong outflow at upper levels, and unusually warm sea surface temperatures around 84 degrees Fahrenheit, 29 degrees Celsius, about half a degree Celsius above average, will allow Trevor to rapidly intensify before landfall early Wednesday local time, which it did. The HWRF model, and that's the best model, the most reliable model for forecasting the intensity of cyclones. The HWRF model suggests that Trevor will make landfall as the equivalent of a Category 2 hurricane on the Saffir-Simpson scale. Given the ongoing rapid intensification, a Category 3 equivalent seems quite plausible, and even stronger intensities cannot be ruled out, And Trevor did make it to Category 3 on the Saffir-Simpson scale. He got up to 115 miles per hour at landfall. First landfall, near Lockhart River. Trevor is expected to strike just south of the Aboriginal coastal community of Lockhart River, which has about 600 residents. This landfall location would put Lockhart River on the less intense side of Trevor's clockwise circulation. So that was one good thing. Trevor's slow movement will likely produce rainfall totals exceeding 10 inches over large areas of far northern Cape York Peninsula, with localised totals topping 20 inches. Trevor will emerge into the Gulf of Carpentaria by Wednesday, which is today. It's now 8:55 a.m. And where most reliable model guidance suggests it will make a run at Category 5 strength. And this is Category 5 strength on the Saffir-Simpson scale. Like I said, 157 miles per hour. And it becomes a Category 5 on the Saffir-Simpson scale, the American hurricane scale. So Trevor's second landfall could be stronger than its first. Trevor will weaken as it slogs across the Cape over the course of about 24 hours, and it's more than halfway through that slog now. But another landfall, perhaps another intense one, appears quite possible as Trevor enters and traverses the Gulf of Carpentaria between Wednesday and Friday. Sea surface temperatures are extremely warm in the Gulf, running around 31 to 32 degrees C or 88 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and that is about a degree Celsius above average for this time of year, and this is the ideal time of year for cyclones. This is when sea surface temperatures are at their warmest. And wind shear will remain very light. The last several runs of the HWRF model are in agreement that Trevor will reach at least Category 4 intensity before its second landfall on the northeast coast of Australia's Northern Territory around Saturday local time. And this is Category 4 Saffir-Simpson scale. 150 mile per hour super typhoon is Category 4 on the Saffir-Simpson scale. There are no sizable coastal towns in this sparsely settled area, where the Aboriginal population is widely dispersed in small communities. So obviously they'll have to evacuate. And that's the model they were talking about just then, which is showing a 150 mile per hour storm at 2 p.m. March 22, 2019. So that would be 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, American time, Friday. A rough analogue to the projected dual landfalls of Trevor occurred in April 2006, when Tropical Cyclone Monica struck just south of Lockhart River with 100 mile per hour sustained winds, according to Joint Typhoon Warning Center, and then intensified dramatically across the Gulf of Carpentaria. So this one, Trevor has already beaten this 100 miles per hour because he came in around 115 miles per hour at landfall, again just south of Lockhart River. Monica's central pressure reached 916 millibars when she got into the Gulf, and peak 1 minute's sustained winds just before landfall were estimated at 180 miles per hour by Joint Typhoon Warning Center. The strongest on record for any Australian cyclone. Property damage was minimal, owing to the small population, but some 140 million trees were reportedly damaged or destroyed. And this story is by Bob Hansen and Jeff Masters. And they don't often write on Australia, events in Australia. But this is a pretty big event. Tropical Cyclone Trevor. So Trevor, Cat 1, Veronica, forecast to be Cat 3 by Saturday. And so that means we're going to have 2 tropical cyclones. 2 severe tropical cyclones at the same time. Both with a V in their name. And Friday is the 22nd. V, 22nd letter of the alphabet. So that's kind of neat. And if you put V and V together, you get W, right? And the next cyclone on the name list is, well, it's another Welsh name, because Trevor is a Welsh name. And the next name after Veronica is Wallace. So I thought I might just have a little look at the radar, the rain radar, the rainfall radar for somewhere up around here. Let's have a look at the national, because it should show up something of our swirls, Jewel swirls, Veronica, and Trevor. So that's sweeper, just there. So if I click on that, there you go. There he is, there's Trevor in action on the radar. The Weeper radar. That's the 128 kilometer radar. We can zoom out to 256. There's our Welsh boy, Trevor. So yeah, Trevor's a Welsh name. Celtic. And it means, the name actually means settlement or homestead. And if you look here, Bramwell Homestead. That's the meaning of the name Trevor, homestead. In Celtic, Welsh, that's what it means. So it made landfall just south of Lockhart River. Just south of Lockhart River. And you can go out further, 512. And there's another look at our Welsh boy. And you can zoom right in too to the 64 km/h radar. And then you sort of get more of an appreciation of just how heavy the rainfall is right now in Weeper. Absolutely torrential. Torrential rain. Like it said, 10 to 20 inches. Why, they're probably talking about areas like this, but that's teeming down in Weeper right now. That's Weeper Airport. Weeper's just here. And then back to the national. Veronica's looking pretty healthy too. Just quietly. So that's Learmouth. Where's Exmouth? Dampier, Port Hedland. So Exmouth's down here somewhere. Carnarvon. Wonder it'll come down like this. Mackay. Gladstone. Anyway, this one's heading into the Gulf. And there's another thing we can look at. Weather maps. We can look at the gradient leading up to this, so 989. That's the pressure of Trevor now, 989. And like I said, Monica was down to, what was it? 916 when she was at her peak in the Gulf of Carpentaria. So it remains to be seen what Trevor gets down to. Is it going to beat Monica or come close to Monica? Not many cyclones get down to that kind of level. So there's no big expectation for Trevor to beat Monica, but to get in the same ballpark, yeah, there is some expectation that that is going to happen. Friday, 15th of March, 2019. But I reckon he will give Monica a run for her money. The last cyclone that was a Category 5 in Australian waters was Marcus. Tropical Cyclone Marcus. And it's just over a year ago that Marcus went across Darwin. That was on the 17th of March last year. Okay, so that's showing the evolution of these two systems. This is taking us up to the current date. 16th of March, so that's 4 days ago. 17th of March, there's Trevor. 18th of March, 19th of March, and present, 20th. So that's the past. And then you can look into the future. The possible future. It's a computer model. So it's only as good as the data that's fed into it. And there have been a few cutbacks made to meteorology, so the data being fed into our computer models is not necessarily 100% accurate. Models are only as good as the data that's entered in, the data that's collected. They can't be more accurate than what they're working with to begin with. And over time, if there's any mistakes in the data that's put in, those mistakes become exaggerated over time. And that's why you sometimes have massive changes in the weather forecast. It's not because the models can't handle the data. It's because the data that's entered into the model in the first place, the current conditions, is not accurate. Not always accurate. It's never completely accurate. But the more accurate it is, the better the forecast, the more reliable the forecast. So when governments cut back on funding for meteorology and climatology, it definitely costs lives. There's no doubt about that. 100%. But with a setup like this, the models are all in a pretty good agreement. Hey, this thing's gonna explode. When it gets into the Gulf of Mexico, wrong country, Gulf of Carpentaria, it's gonna explode. Like Hurricane Michael in the Gulf of Mexico exploded last year. And was still intensifying when he made landfall. And he could be reclassified as a Category 5 as well. He's down as a Category 4 right now. But there you go, there's the possible future. Twin severe cyclones by, well, yeah, Friday the 22nd, you can see the intensification kicking in there. Friday 22nd of March. Saturday 23rd of March, well and truly going off. So you go, that's the forecast. That's Australian perspective and an American perspective as well. And the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, well, where are they located? Japan? I'm not sure. Okinawa? I think so. Anyway, there's current conditions and we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's 9:07 AM if you're in Eastern Australia. Depends where you are. If you're in America, it's still Tuesday. It's 6:08 PM in New York. So the story I just read is a little more recent than it looks.